Hello everyone, welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'm on Tier Maker doing something a little different, reviewing the best ride at Universal Orlando Resort. So, let's get into it. Okay, first we have the Carousel. So this is an Islands of Adventure. I mean, it's a pretty fun carousel to look at, but for me it's not really doing anything because I'm not gonna ride it. I'd rather ride other rides, but for kids I see this as a great addition. So I'll probably put this, I mean, for me, probably F. But I mean, if you're like a young kid that would like this, sure, you could rank it higher. Next is Despicable Me Minion Mayhem. So this is a fun ride. I used to like it a lot more, when I had the 3D goggles, because I thought that was like a cool effect. Now it's just kind of like a screen, and you're on like the little motion carts. So I felt like it could have been higher, but since they got rid of the 3D effect, I think it's gonna have to just go in C tier probably. Now we have Doctor Doom's Fearfall. So this is it's a fun like launch freefall tower, but I feel like that's all it is. It's like a one-trick pony, goes up, comes down. The queue is pretty cool though, but I don't know if it's enough to push it to C, so I'm thinking D tier for this, but it's a pretty fun ride. Okay, now we have Dudley Do Right's Ripsaw Falls. So this is a log flume located in Toon Lagoon, and I really like it for what it does. It gets you the perfect amount of wetness, so you're not soaked for the entire day, but you get enough water in you where you'll be cooled down. So I really like it. The animatronics and the theming are really cool, and I think it's very charming. So I'll put it at B tier. Okay, now we have E.T. Adventure. This is in like right outside of the kids zone that's getting refurbished right now. And I really like it. I think it's really charming, especially the first half of the ride, where you're like in the forest. I think that's really cool. And the queue's also pretty cool, and it smells nice in there. I like it for what it is. I feel like it's a little outdated. They should probably do like refurbishment on it. But I know Steven Spielberg, the owner of this, really likes this ride, and like he'd be so mad if they got it removed. He'd like pull all plugs from the park. So I think it'd be pretty good at C tier. I feel like it's along Minion standard, maybe a little better. Now, this is where it gets a little controversial. We have Fast and Furious Supercharged. Some say it's the worst ride in the whole resort. I'm gonna say differently. I find this ride kind of enjoyable. I do feel like it's probably one of the weaker ones, definitely. But I wouldn't rank it as the worst. Now, I'm thinking it's definitely not F. I think it's either D or C tier. Either bottom C tier or top D tier. I think I'm gonna put it at C tier. I know that's controversial. Some of you just put that F, you never ride it. But I find it actually pretty enjoyable. Okay, Flight of the Hippogriff. I've only actually ridden this once, and it was like a long time ago. But I know it's just your classic like kids coaster. It does have the cool Hippogriff animatronic at the beginning of the ride, which I do find pretty cool. But I'd rank it at probably D tier. I mean, it's there. It does what it's supposed to. It's like a kids roller coaster, and I think it's pretty charming. Okay, now we have Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. You know this is one of the best coasters in the entire resort, and arguably the world. So you know it's gotta come to S tier. Now, is it better than Velocicoaster? Well, you're gonna have to see, because I am very close on those two. What one I think is better and what one I think is worse. But this ride is so good. It's the most expensive roller coaster in the world. At least it was. I gotta fact check that. And it's just amazing. Like, there's so many cool effects in it. It's loaded with animatronics. It's like the best storytelling coaster I've ever been on. Next we have Escape from Gringotts, which I think is an amazing ride. I know some people say it heavily relies on screens, but I think it actually works really well with the space it had to work with. Especially that first like tilt track at the beginning. That thing is great. In the back where you like rise up, I think it's pretty good. I wish it was a little longer and maybe a little like faster at times, but I like it. I'll put it in solid A tier. Okay, next we have Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey. This ride is amazing. I love the mix of practical effects and screens, and the Kuka arm, the ride vehicle ride on, is really good. I love how it the mechanics of it and how it works. I think it's revolutionary. So I think it's actually a little bit better than Gringotts, just because I like the physical sets more than all screens. Plus I feel it's a little more exciting to go on. So yeah, I'd say it's second best Harry Potter ride in the entire thing. Now we have the Hogwarts Express. I'm gonna count this as both stations just because I think it's just one complete ride. Like, you gotta ride it there, you gotta ride it back. Because the screens that you see in the queue line is all different. So I'd say this ride is pretty enjoyable. It's more of like transportation. But also, you get the screens on the ride and like the door. You can see like projections of people on the door. Plus the queue at King's Cross where you go through the wall, I think is pretty good. So I would rank this, C or B, C or B. I think I'd rank this top C probably. I think it's pretty enjoyable, but there's no thrill and it's kind of mostly just transportation, which I like because it's located in the back of both parks, so it's like you don't have to walk all the way around City Walk to get there. So I like it for what it is. Okay, next we have Rip Ride Rocket. This ride is super controversial. Some people hate it, some people love it. I am actually on the side more where I like it. I think it's probably one of the weaker roller coasters in the resort. But for what it does, it like looks great. You can see it throughout the resort, and the like music where you get to choose what one is a super cool gimmick on the ride. So I think I'll actually put it in B tier. Okay, next we have Jurassic Park River Adventure. So this ride, I think it used to be a lot better. It's kind of been getting neglected. Like the first scene when the doors open up, sometimes I see no dinosaurs working in there. They're all broken. There's like scrim everywhere, and I feel like it's in desperate need of like refurbishment. I think personally it's gonna be like no one can like this decision, but I think they should actually make this a Jurassic World ride like they have in Universal Studios Hollywood. Those Indominus Rex animatronics are so good. So if you see it right now, that is amazing. I wish they'd bring that over to the Orlando park, but I still like it. I think it would be good at, I think the bottom of the, I think it's B tier. I don't know if it's better than Rip Ride Rocket, worse, so I'm gonna say they're about equal. So yeah, I'll put it right there. Okay, now we have Kang and Kudo's Twirl and Hurl. So this ride I've actually never been on it, but I just guess it's like your average Dumbo spinner or one of those types of rides. So I think it just, I mean it's there. I think it looks really cool. It's like the eye and stuff, and I think he's cool. But I'll just put him back in F tier. It's kind of more of a kid's ride. I prefer the other ride in the Simpson Land. So yeah, not much to say about it. Okay guys, actually real quick, I'm going to change my decision. I think Jurassic Park River Adventure should move to the top of C tier. I don't feel like it belongs up here with these B tier players, so I'm going to just move it down a bit. Okay, now we have Men in Black Alien Attack. I like this ride. I'm actually surprised how good a condition it is, because I feel like all the animatronics work pretty well, and the ride spinning is still like working. Because I know the manufacturer for this ride, like the spinning mechanic and the carts, actually went out of business, so it's been hard for them to get the parts for this. So I actually really like it. I wish I was better than my dad at it because he always beats me. But I think I've gotten in like the 400,000 like one time, sometimes 300,000, but normally around the 300, 200,000 mark for points. And I'd put it at B tier. I think it belongs up here, but a little higher than C tier. I like it. I like the spinning, and I like the shooting mechanic. Okay, now we have one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. Oh my god, I can't believe I said that right. Okay, so this ride, it's basically like King Kudo's Twirl and Hurl, but there's like water effects on it, so you can kind of get wet. So I'd put it about equal. It's not much different, and it's kind of located back in Seuss Land, like the back part of it. But yeah, it does what it can in Seuss Landing. I think it's cool to get refreshed off in the middle of the day, but other than that, it's all it really does. Okay, now we have Popeye and Bluto's Bilge Rat Barges. My god, that was a mouthful to say. Okay, so this is probably one of the best river raft rides in the world, but you get soaked on it. Like, it's like jumping into a pool of water and just getting out. Like, I watch people on this, they get drenched. There's no way you're staying dry in this at any point. So, I mean, if you're going in the summer, it's great. I'd say it's around the C tier. I think these rides rank with that. I'd probably put it, probably right behind River Adventure. I think if River Adventure is a little better, just because it has a drop. Like, I know some raft rides have a drop. If this had a drop, I think it would be maybe B tier. But since it doesn't, I think C tier is a pretty good spot. Okay, next is Pterodon Flyers. So, I've actually only went on this one time, because that was when I was short enough for it. So I don't really remember it that much. I remember it being kind of slow and not worth the wait. But it did kind of give some cool views. So I'd put it probably at the bottom of D tier. I think that's a pretty good, reasonable spot for it. Okay, now we have Jimmy Fallon Race Through New York. So I have mixed feelings about this ride. It's like a big screen ride. You're on like a one big giant like row with everyone on it, moves at the same time. And other than that, it's kind of cool, but I mean, it's kind of like Fast and Furious, I feel like. it's at the bottom tier of like attraction. I'd actually rank it below Fast and Furious. I know some people are gonna hate me for that, but I've never really watched Jimmy Fallon, so I just rank it below Fast and Furious. But still, maybe in C tier, maybe in D. I don't know. This could also go in D. I don't. You know, I'm still mixed about this rank list. I see like on any day it could change what I think about these rides. So. Okay, now we have Revenge of the Mummy. So this ride, I really like it. It's all practical sets with like minimal screens in it, which is really cool. I like the immersion of it. And it's kind of like Gringotts, but like the older version, more fast though. It is faster. I always go back and forth of what I think is better. Right now, I don't know. I think Mummy might be a tad better, but that could change. That could definitely change. So, I just think it's a little better because it's all practical sets and like the fire effects make me warm in there, which I like. But yeah, it's also really thrilling. Like the second half, you're like flying through it. So I like. We have Kong Skull Island. So I know some of you are gonna rank this next to Fast and Furious. I don't understand that. Kong, I think, is like a superior ride. Like a lot better because it has the audio animatronic at the end is amazing. Have you seen him? He's massive. Plus Kong's a lot longer. Like the doors at the entrance are cool. You have different like drivers each time. Like they each have a different story and like a different animatronic up front. And there's like so many screen sections. I feel like it's a lot better. So I would probably put it at B tier. I think is a reasonable spot for it. Probably around these. I'm not sure if it's better than these or not. So, but I'll just put it at the bottom of B tier. Okay, next is Storm Force Acceleration. I've only run this once, but I'm pretty sure it's just like a normal teacups ride, but like wind and strobe lights and stuff. So I'd put it probably just D tier again. It doesn't really do much. It's kind of just like there, like a filler attraction. But yeah, not much to say about it. Okay, now we have the Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man. I love this ride. I think it's the perfect way to do screens. How instead of something more like Transformers where you're watching robots fight and they just keep yelling at each other's names, they're like, Optimus, go get him. Instead of that, Spider-Man, I feel like they're fighting you directly and you're more involved in the action. And I love how like sometimes there's a lot of physical sets when you're like transferring from scene to scene. And I just love how like they like punch your ride vehicle and they like electrocute it, which I think is really cool. So I think I'll put it at the bottom of A tier. I feel like it belongs there. It's a super good ride. Okay, now we have the Cat in the Hat ride. I don't know. This ride, it used to be better. Like, some scenes feel so bland now because this ride used to spin. It has, like, the same manufacturer as Men in Black. So when Men in Black's spinning mechanics kind of failed, they took the parts from the Cat in the Hat and actually put it on MIB. That's why it's running so well. So Cat in the Hat, some scenes will feel dull and it's kind of scary inside. But I also feel it's pretty charming. It gives like that classic dark ride feel. So I think I'll put it at the top of D tier. I feel like it's very charming, but if it still had that spinning aspect, it'd be a lot better. So I think D tier is kind of where it belongs. Okay, next we have the High in the Sky Seuss Trolley Train ride. So this ride is pretty relaxing. It's kind of like a worse version of the People Mover at Disney World. It's kind of cool how there's like two different tracks, like they go to different places, and it's pretty relaxing. But I don't think it's better than these two. I think I'd have to put it right behind Flight of the Hippogriff, as I think it's better than these two and then worse than these rides. Okay, now we have the Incredible Hulk coaster. So I'm gonna say I really like this coaster. I think the queue line's cool. The launch tunnel effects are also really cool, and the actual ride is really intense. The one problem I have with it is, like, unlike a coaster like Velocicoaster, which is very thrilling and theming, this one is like all thrill. There's not that much theme after you get out of the launch tunnel, but you do get a cool view of the park. So I think I'll put it at the top of D tier. I think it's pretty good there. Below Spider-Man and rides like that, just because I like the theming aspect of these more. But yeah, I feel like it's strong, top of B tier. Okay, now we have the Simpsons ride. So this ride is all screens again, but the queue line's kind of cool, like the mini pre-show. I mean, they kind of stop you in there. I don't really know how to describe it. But I think it's kind of like, my family hates this because they're all like, oh, it gets me so sick. But I guess I'm young, I don't really get motion sickness, so I think it's a fun ride. But where does it go? I think it'd have to rank right above the Hogwarts Express. as I like the quick and jerky motion on this. I find it like cool for a screen ride. I think middle C tier is pretty nice for it. Okay, so now we have Transformers. So Transformers changes a lot in my ranking from time to time to time. I don't know. I feel like Spider-Man is just a better version of this ride. Like this ride, they just keep calling out like everyone's name. They're like, oh, there's that guy. Oh, and there's Megatron. And I feel like there's more you're just watching robots fight in front of you. And they're not really like involving with you, if that makes sense. So, also the pacing in this is really like weird. It's kind of like off. So I think I would rank this, top of C maybe? I don't know. People would get mad if I ranked it top of C though. Maybe at least B? I don't know. I think I'd rank it the top of C. I think that's a pretty good location for it. Okay, now we just have 2 remaining. Okay, and lastly, we have the Velocicoaster, because this coaster has since been removed. So, the Velocicoaster is absolutely amazing. This is actually one of my favorite coasters ever, and I think it deserves the #1 spot. This ride just keeps getting better and better as you go on it. From the first launch to then the 75-mile launch, the halfway through, you go up the over 100-foot tall top hat, and then finally you end the coaster off with the Mosasaurus roll, probably my favorite inversion on any coaster. And this ride is just amazing. I love it. My first time on it, actually, we were the last ones in line for, which I thought was really cool, because we had almost a whole train to ourselves, which I thought was really cool. And yeah, that is my tier list. So tell me what you guys think in the comment sections down below. Please give this video a big like and subscribe. And tell me what you change about my rankings. But I hope you guys have an amazing day. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!